We're looking at our 48th memory verse found in Psalm 139, verses 23 and 24. As we think of the new year and we remember what is important in our spiritual walk with God, this psalm should come back to our minds. And it's one that, as we memorize, we want to contemplate on it all the time to make sure that our life is really where it should be. So Psalm 139 verses 23 and 24, a Psalm of David. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the everlasting way, or in the way everlasting. So as we look at our diagram, we notice a number of important things. First, the idea of search me, O God, and know my heart is actually coming from verse 1, where David had said, thou hast searched me and known me. So he knows that God already has done that. And so he's making a request. And the request that he's asking is that God would reveal to him those things that are in his life that should not be there. And so it's really a very strong psalm. And if we're going to memorize it and we're going to apply it in our life, it should have great results, right? We need to be aware that when we say this psalm, if we say it in a true heart, that God is going to work in our lives, and there's going to be pain and there's going to be revelation, and then you and I need to respond to that which we are taught. And so if we look at it, we can see that the first two phrases are really very similar. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Okay, so we see the emphasis of knowing our attitudes, knowing the inner self, not what we do, but what we think, and our motives and our desires. And then he says, try me, or test me. And again, the inner man, know my thoughts. And so David is opening himself up to God and saying, Lord, I want you to know my inner self. I want you to know my heart. And it's interesting that David is called a man after God's own heart. And so you and I, we need to open our lives up to God and ask him to reveal what is in our heart and what are our thoughts. Are these godly? And so that which we want in our life is to be godly, and we want God to reveal it. And we see that then in we have the two together, right? Search me, O God, know my heart, try me or test me, and know my thoughts. Then there's a conclusion here, and this is the purpose. See if there be any wicked way in me. And when he says that, see if there be any wicked way in me, he's really asking God to do something. He's saying, if there be a wicked way in me, reveal it. Allow me to fall before you and ask for your strength and your forgiveness. Allow my life to be godly. Allow it to do that which you would have me to do. And so if you and I are going to memorize this verse, or these two verses, and then we're going to repeat them as our prayer, we're asking God to show us the wrong that we are doing. And we need to expect him to do it, and there needs to be change in our life, because as we know, none of us are perfect, and we struggle with our inner man, and so we want God to help us in that way. So if there be any wicked way in me, let me know. Let me see it. Let me ask for your forgiveness, and let me make it right through your power. And then he ends with, and lead me in the way everlasting. Okay, and so lead me in your way. Allow me to walk in obedience and to do those things that bring glory to God, and not in the sense that I am glorifying God, but in the sense that through my life, God gets the glory. Everything that happens is done because of who God is and what he does. And so lead me in the way of everlasting. Allow my life to be a life that is pleasing to you. And so as we go through the week and through this year, let's keep coming back to this verse and asking God to search us, to know the way, to test us, so he knows both our hearts and our thoughts. And if there be things in our life that shouldn't be there, that God would reveal it, and we would then live a life that was pleasing to God.